Vroom vroom, guys, because there's a big moving truck outside my apartment and you're gonna be able to hear the rumblings and the audio of this commentary. I can't really control that, so I apologize. However, we have ourselves some news that we have to talk about in regards to the Vancouver Canucks and the New York Rangers, the same Rangers team that is indeed playing off later today against the Dallas Stars. Before we dive into that and more, though, we need to talk about this piece of news. And it actually comes to us from the Pittsburgh beat. Take a look at this. It was posted by Josh Yohe earlier this morning on The Athletic. What I'm hearing about the Penguins' trade options for Rickard Rakell and Marcus Pettersson. And included is a picture of Rickard Rakell. By the way, he has been so clutch for me in fantasy on 7 of the 8 teams that I have this season. However, this is not technically a piece on the Penguins. We're not talking about Pittsburgh in this video. Instead, we are using this Penguins article and one of the information tidbits within it to talk about the Canucks. Because if we go over onto yahoosports.ca, this is where we dive into an article that summarizes the Athletic piece. The Rangers reportedly offered Mika Zibanejad to the Canucks in a trade for J.T. Miller. This is going to be linked in the description with the Athletic piece. The Athletic, of course, paid for material. You need the subscription to read it. yahoosports.ca, you don't need a subscription to read this one. You know what's also linked in the description? It's the ExpressVPN affiliate link. So if you do need a VPN, go ahead and check it out for all of your needs there. Link helps me out. It helps you out. Everybody wins. Let's dive into this article talking about the Rangers, who reportedly made an offer to the Vancouver Canucks for J.T. Miller that involves Zibanejad. Earlier this season, the Rangers offered struggling center Mika Zibanejad to Vancouver in return for Miller. The Canucks turned down the offer. This was all according to Josh Yohe. Of course, Zibanejad has a no-move clause, so who knows if he would have even accepted a trade to Vancouver, as he recently stated that he has this clause in his contract for a reason, while reiterating his desire to stay in New York. I haven't heard anything, Zibanejad said to Peter Bowe via The Athletic. I don't read anything. I don't listen to anything. It's all noise. There's a reason why I have clauses like that. It's something that was negotiated and earned. My focus has always been here. My focus has never been on anything else. And this, of course, is some pretty interesting information. As the article goes out there and writes, it's not the first time that Zibby has been linked to Vancouver, as Elliot Friedman even hinted at the idea that if Vancouver wanted Zibanejad, Miller might already be in New York. If Vancouver wanted to do that, it could have been done already, Friedman said about a potential trade for J.T. Miller. And don't forget, Zibanejad has a no-move clause as well. And this is our main idea. That's not necessarily new, but is indeed one that I think we have to reiterate one more time, because now it's been confirmed by a Pittsburgh beat writer of all people that one Mika Zibanejad was offered to Vancouver for Miller, to which Patrick Allvin and co. said no. And I do find it kind of funny how this seems to be the way the trade conversation is shaping up. New York had a struggling center, a guy who's not really all too great this season. He's on pace for 51 points, and he has been disappointing. And they just said, hey, Vancouver, you want this guy? You want this struggling player for your struggling player, even though your struggling player is cheaper and he produces more? How does that sound? And Patrick Allvin understandably was like, yeah, no, I don't want him. Like, Miller for Zibanejad, you are definitely winning that trade. The only reason a trade like this would even go through is if both teams vehemently believe that a change of scenery is required here. Both of these guys are in the same age range. Miller's 31, Zibanejad also. They're only separated by 1 month in terms of their birth dates. They're both signed on till 2030. They're both centers. Zibanejad is a right-handed guy. Miller is a left-handed guy. However, Miller is making $500,000 a year less than Mika Zibanejad. And Zibby has never had the point production that Miller has had at their peaks. Now, sure, you can say that Zibanejad has been better than Miller for longer. I don't think that's unfair to say, but Miller has had higher highs, Zibanejad has had higher goal production. However, I'd say that Mika doesn't provide as much to the game holistically than JT Miller does, because JT, when he is on his game, when he's at his peak, he can get 4-point games like he had gotten yesterday. He can score goals in tight, he can score goals from distance, he can create plays, he can do things defensively, he can penalty kill. When he is at his best, he is one of the best players in the league. It's just, for him, he definitely has not been exhibiting anywhere near that best for good chunks of this year. Mika Zibanejad, on the other hand, I'd say that when his value is really shining through, he is a one-time option on the power play, but he doesn't have that same upper capacity that a JT Miller has. Ultimately, when both of these guys are struggling, as we had said, unless you fully believe that Zibanejad is in need of a change of scenery, and once he gets that, he'll be golden, there's no other reason to think that a Miller for Zibanejad trade is even fair. No wonder Patrick Allvin denied this idea. But I guess it goes to show you just how deep the Rangers are already in when it comes to this Miller talk, because it's been already discussed by many insiders that the team really, really wants JT Miller back. They want that kind of a leadership, personality, style guy. Honestly, when I think about the personalities, I could see a fit there as well for both of these guys on their new teams. Like, Mika Zibanejad isn't as much of a, let's just say, strong personality than Miller, it seems, based off of what we have seen in the games of how Miller likes to yell at people and yell at even his own team and how often he likes to cuss people out and stuff. Mika Zibanejad doesn't seem to have that sort of agitative flair, which does make me think that if Zibanejad and Pettersson, for example, are playing together, they probably could form some sort of a nice unity there on the power play at even strength. They wouldn't be playing on the same line, of course, they're both centers, but maybe Petey gets out of his head a little bit more if JT is gone and it's Mika Zibanejad who's the other center instead. But still, value for value, Miller is a more desirable piece. Cheaper, better score, higher lows. Mika Zibanejad, when he isn't really contributing his best, then I think a lot of Rangers fans really start to dog onto him. Not like it's not the same in Vancouver. To be honest, Miller does get a lot of criticism from this fan base, but I still do believe in the upper talent that he does possess, as well as the lower talent. Elias Pettersson's like in an entirely other discussion, I feel, because Pettersson, when he is playing his worst, he isn't actively bad. For Miller, I think he is actively bad when the Vancouver Canucks are sucking and he himself is checked out mentally. Mika Zibanejad is more of like a nothing player, but he is not in it, and the Rangers have had so much of not in it play for this season alone, so I do kind of question the direction of both of these teams and where they go with these players, but for now, it was just revealed to us by Josh Yohe on The Athletic, the Pittsburgh edition, that one JT Miller for Zibanejad trade was already rejected. Who knows if there were any other assets involved? Who knows if it was Zibanejad plus for Miller? That might have made it a lot more spicy, of course, but based off of our understanding here, it seems like it was just Miller for Zibanejad. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Both articles, Yahoo Sports as well as The Athletic, will be linked in the description down below. You know what? I just realized, because both of these guys are at the same age, we do have the opportunity to compare them literally 1-to-1 here in the Elite Prospects Compare Players tool. So let's go out there and do that. JT Miller versus Mika Zibanejad. You can see all the stats right here, as we had talked about before. Contracts are almost the same, age is almost the same, center size is almost the same too, but JT Miller this season is on pace for 72 points. Mika Zibanejad is on pace for 51. Miller also is on pace for 10 fewer games played because he had missed that amount earlier in the season. Last year, Miller had 103 points, Zibanejad had 72. The year before that, though, Miller had 82 and Zibanejad had 91. So things certainly have been up and down for both of these players over the past few years, but with the Rangers struggling and with the Canucks also struggling, you can understand why there's some sort of a discussion for these two to be had. If it was Zibanejad and like Braden Schneider, for example, I think the Canucks probably would have bit. There are good defensemen, young defensemen in the Rangers organization that the Canucks would have definitely wanted, but if it was just Mika for JT 1-for-1, no chance that's going through. With Patrick Allvin and this management staff, hell no, there's no way that was going to go through, and even with Elliot Friedman saying that, yeah, no, they could have gotten this trade done if they wanted to earlier, I think that does illuminate where the tail of the tape is here. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. How do you feel about a Zibanejad for Miller trade getting rejected? If you're a Rangers fan, what do you think? If you're a Canucks fan, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.